What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're talking cameras. Specifically, I have made the decision to stop using my trusty Samsung Galaxy Note 9 to record these videos, and I have upgraded to this, the Sony ZV-1. I figured out what the top 10 reasons I had for making this decision, and I'm going to share those with you today. But first things first, let's switch this camera for that one so we can see what we're working with. All right. Alright, well, there we are. You know, I don't hate it, although that is a little, I know I need to look here, but I keep wanting to look there at the screen and just, you know. Anyway, 10 reasons why I decided that this was going to be an ideal choice for me doing this. First and foremost, number one, it's an investment in a new piece of equipment, and so money is a consideration. Money's an issue. This camera weighs in at $700, which I know is not, it's not a small amount, but I'm watching the same videos you are. I'm seeing all these people with like the Sony A7S III. I think it's $3,500, and that's just for the camera body. Like, it's $3,500 and you haven't even put a lens on it yet. So to be able to have a camera with the capability of a Sony product, you know, the autofocus and their colors, I'm hearing, are good nowadays too, compared to the likes of Canon and so forth. So to be able to get that for a fraction of the cost of something like the A7S III, I think that's a good option. You know, $700 is reasonable in my mind compared to, you know, thousands. So that's number one. It was the price. I thought it was fair. The second thing that weighed into my consideration here was the size of this camera. This thing, I could fit it in my pocket. It's lightweight, 10 ounces. For this camera, as opposed to, well, let's go back to the A7S III here. That camera is 1.3 pounds, so it's, you know, more than twice as heavy. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I think for me the size is an issue. I don't mind that this thing is something convenient, something I could just throw in my pocket, take with me easily if I wanted to go run around, if I wasn't just doing this, sticking it on a tripod and chatting away. So that's what the second thing was for me. It was the size. And in the event that you are trying to vlog with this camera and walk around with it, it's not so big and obtrusive that you feel, you know, kind of ostentatious or whatever with it. It's convenient. It's pocketable, you know. Number three, this is an all-in-one solution. It gives me my still camera for shooting thumbnails. It gives me a good quality video camera, lets me do 4K, lets me do slow motion. It's got a decent mic built into it, although right now I am still using the lavalier mic that I've been using the whole time. It's what I'm used to, and it plugs right into the side of this thing anyway, so why not? And everything is right here in one place. It's got the one lens, you know, so I'm not trying to figure out, like, what am I shooting today? Which lens will I bring? And for me, I think it's just, it streamlines the whole process for me, and I think that works. Number four, I kind of just touched on it. It's the idea that I'm not buying any glass for this thing. That is a whole other deal to get into. When you start looking at cameras and thinking about the future of what you're going to do, you need to make some real decisions. What kind of lenses are you going to need going forward? And will they fit the camera that you're buying? Because they're not, all makes and models aren't the same, you know, and so you can buy adapters to use one lens with a different camera body, but I'm not trying to get into that right now. For my intents and purposes, this is perfect because it's everything I need to do all right here in one spot. Although if you're watching the same videos I am, you saw that there is an adapter that you can stick on nowadays to give you a wider field of view. But like I said, if you're interested in doing something like what I am, where you just stick it on a tripod and natter away, this does the job just fine. Number five. Number five is I'm a little embarrassed by the recording light. When you're looking at the back side of a phone, you know, you're kind of assuming that you did the right thing up front, and now you're just following through on it. Whereas I am sad to say I have thought that I had done the right thing, but did not. It's convenient that this one has a nice little light on it that tells me the thing is recording, and I don't need to second guess whether or not I got it right. So the recording light, that's number five. Number six, how we're doing that. Number six is the screen. In this case, it is the screen that folds out to the side. It has some articulation to it, but most importantly, I can see what I'm doing. I can see what's going on from this side of the camera. Going back to the idea of using the phone, when I'm looking at the camera, I have no idea what's on the screen. I just kind of had to line everything up and assume that when I walked around on the other side, I wasn't chopping my head off, nor did I have, you know, a million miles of space over my head. Those are mistakes that I've made in the past. With the screen, where I can see what's going on, well, I can see what's going on. So, yeah. Conveniently, I do like that this screen folds out to the side. There are a few other cameras on the market where the screen folds up over the top of the camera. And although that can work, if you are using, let's say, an external mic or something that you plant up on top of it, it's going to be right in the way of the screen. And then on the other side of the camera, you got your plugs and ports. Like, everything has its own space, which is nice. Number seven, options. Lots of options. This camera, God, it just, you know, for being a pocket-sized camera, a point-and-shoot camera, if you will, because right now, like, I set everything into, I plopped it up there and put it on with the auto settings. This is what you get just by hitting, you know, telling the camera to make all the decisions for you, right? I didn't set the white balance. I didn't pick the aperture or the shutter speed or the ISO or any. I didn't set any of the settings. I just hit auto and let it roll. But I have the ability with this camera to go in and do all those things. I can make all those detailed decisions. You're not sacrificing the ability to create the shot that you want by getting a point and shoot camera. You have all the options. I mean, you got the picture profiles, you can set your own white balance, you can make custom menus, you can do all sorts of stuff to customize the way the camera works so that it works the way you want it to. So you don't have to sacrifice the options that would come on a larger, more expensive camera by having a point and shoot camera. And I think that's good. And that's number seven. Which brings me to number eight. It kind of dovetails the one into the other. Because this camera has so many options to it, you could use this as training wheels to get yourself into a bigger camera later on. The things you learn using this camera will transition when you are getting that Sony a7S III or whatever it is, a7 IV, or whatever it is they're making at the point you change over. The things you have learned using this camera and the knowledge you have developed with, you know, tweaking the settings and making the shot with this camera, that'll carry over into the next camera that you get, because things like shutter speed and ISO and all that, they're universal traits. Even if you go from the ZV-1 to a Canon camera or a Nikon or a Fuji, the fundamentals that you learn using this will still carry over. If you do end up moving into another camera, then you still have this one. You can either, you know, sell it to a buddy or sell it online or something. But if you don't want to do that, because it's small, because it has all these great options, like, this is a good second camera. You could make it your overhead camera for your unboxings, or you could you know, just use it for a second angle if you're doing interviews or something like that. So it's a good transitional camera. Number nine, I would say, when I watch videos about having a YouTube channel, everybody says the same thing. They say gear doesn't matter. And to a point, I agree that they're right. I mean, I did just fine with my phone for the longest time. But I like the idea of having a dedicated tool, of having the right tool for the job, if you will. For example, when you buy a piece of furniture and you come home to build it, you rip open that package with all the nuts and bolts and stuff, and there's always that universal tool that it comes with. It's the wrench size you're going to need, and on the other end it's the screw head you're going to need. Like, that will do the job, but that doesn't stop me from going to my tool chest and getting a proper wrench and a proper screwdriver. And I think the same thing of this. It's the right tool for the job as opposed to the camera on my phone. When I want to do something like this, well, I've got to set everything up, and I've got to put the little holder on it, set it on the tripod, and, you know, line everything up, and sort of make all those decisions that I made last time. I got to do it all over again. But like with the case of something like this, I can effectively leave this set here on this tripod, and then when I decide, like, oh, I'm ready to do a video, I just come in, I hit record. Hey everybody, welcome back. Does gear matter? Not enough to stop you, but gear matters in that the end has to be to make the job easier and to create a better product. And I think that's what something like this will do. Anyway, that's number 9. It is a dedicated tool. I like the idea of that. Number 10, Sony Quality. I don't know how else to say that. I think Sony makes a good product. They have positioned themselves in the electronic space, well, very much the same way as people at Samsung have done. Like, if you see a product with the Samsung name on it, you just kind of know it's going to be decent. Whether it's a TV or a camera or a phone, like, they make good stuff. And I think the same is true for Sony. Sony, I have tons of Sony products through the years. I've had other Sony cameras. In fact, hold on a second. Boom. This thing here, okay, this is my Sony CyberShot camera. All right, this thing, when I bought it, was cutting edge. I think this was like $400 or something when I picked it up. 7.2 megapixels. But you know what? It still works. I mean, the video camera on it, all it says is shoots digital movie with sound. So it's not exactly what we would call high quality nowadays. But I've had this thing forever and it still works. I've still got an original PlayStation. It still works. Like, Sony just makes decent products. They make good stuff. They make long-lasting, dependable piece of equipment. And yeah, I'm going to say I like Sony cameras now because I think the quality is there. Well, and here. But yeah, Sony Quality. Number 10, that's on my list. I think that helps make the ZV-1 a good investment. I don't feel like I'm throwing money away on this camera. So that's number 10, Sony Quality. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Those are my 10 reasons that I decided this would be a reasonably good camera for me, and I hope that they help you make the decision of if it's going to be a reasonably good camera for you. If you are interested in getting your own ZV-1, I will put an affiliate link in the description down there. They'll zip you over to Amazon so you can get it. Like I said, nowadays it's rolling in at around $700. If you have any questions, let me know. Hit me in the comments or whatever, and I'll get back to you. I'll give you some answers. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you're having a good week.